About 10% of the total students at Ohio State is identified as international student. Cultural transition after arriving in the U.S. is, of course, an inevitable phase for all students. According to an article published in the International Journal of Diversity, culture refers to shared motivates, values, beliefs, identities, or meanings of significant events. Most international students who come to the U.S. for the first time may experience cultural shock, also known as value system and cultural differences. An example of this is language. In a recent article found in Mental Health, Religion, and Culture magazine, it is claimed that due to their often limited vocabulary, they commonly have difficulties actuating their knowledge fully for assignments and exams, which may discourage them from participation.
Our survey took place in the OVO. We chose students on the OVO as a survey sample because it offers greater diversity and unpredictability in our responses. We asked different people, especially those who we thought might have come from the other country, to complete the survey. A limitation we had was that not all people we surveyed were international students, as it was hard to make judgment only by their appearance. From the responses we have gathered, we can see that 20 out of 24 international students prefer to speak their original language. We then asked the international students how long they have been living in the U.S. From the results, we can see that 9 of them have been living in America for less than 3 months, followed by 7 who have been living here for more than 2 years. This indicates that we have both people who are somewhat familiarized with American culture and language, and people who just arrived in the U.S. and are still adjusting to this new environment. Finally, we created a graph with only those international students who responded that they do prefer to speak their native language in order to establish a relationship between the time they have been living in the U.S. and their language of preference. We can see that 7 of the international students who answered that they prefer to speak their native language have been living in the U.S. for less than 3 months, while 10 have been living in America for at least 1 year or more. We might think that the longer a person stays in a new environment, the better they can adapt to it. However, the results show that whether the international students have been living in the U.S. for a short or longer period of time, they nonetheless prefer to talk in their native language. In order to make international students feel more involved, they first need to be proficient in English. Willingness to communicate is key to improve language skills. It can affect students' stress, academic performance, and emotional well-being. Those students who are more willing to use the second language are less burdened by social isolation, time and financial constraints, and communication difficulties. We would recommend and encourage those international students to talk less in their native language and talk more using English to practice their overall communication and quickly adapt to the new environment, while domestic students should also be open-minded to accept a foreign culture.